This is Paul Kagame, President of the Republic of Rwanda, a small country in East Africa, where 25 years ago went through a horrific ordeal where hundreds of thousands of Tutsis were massacred in a genocide, scenes not seen before, only comparable to the worst of human atrocities such as the Holocaust and the like. This is Paul Kagame, who has been hailed by many as someone who has done wonders and miracles in a country that went through such horrific events 25 years ago. Here he is standing with many world leaders, receiving accolades and awards, and being hailed like some kind of savior of that nation. This is Kibeho, a place in the southern part of Rwanda which receives many tourists, many who come on pilgrimages, as it's a special site for many who are in the Roman Catholic faith, a place of beauty, a place of serenity and spirituality, but a place with a horrific past. On the 22nd of April 1995, a year after the genocide in Rwanda, under Paul Kagame's command, his soldiers, who were then the army of Rwanda, were still killing thousands upon thousands of Hutu civilians, mostly women and children. Many people, because of the war that had taken place since 1990, had been internally displaced, or culminated in a genocide in 1994 following the assassination of President Habyarimana of Rwanda and his Burundian counterpart, an assassination that was ordered by Paul Kagame and sparked this violence like never seen before, had resulted in many people moving from their homes. For Paul Kagame and his army, as they were advancing from Uganda into the country, were killing thousands and thousands of people in the northern part of Rwanda, and many of these people who survived these killings found themselves internally displaced within the country. Some of these people found themselves hiding in a place called Kibeho, where the United Nations peacekeepers had set up a safe zone in which these people thought that they were safe. But on April the 22nd in 1995, Kagame's army, led by Colonel Fred Ibingira, now 4-star General Fred Ibingira, came onto this place where there were mostly women and children and opened fire on the crowd. Australian peacekeepers who were there as part of the United Nations peacekeeping force give testimony that there is nothing they could do to stop Kagame's army massacring thousands of people as they watched. 8,000 people lost their lives on that day, and that is a number which many dispute and in fact say more died. Some of the people who were there say that some of the bodies were carried into the Nyungwe forest and burned, and so in fact many more people lost their lives on that day. The president of Rwanda at the time, Bizimungu, who was in actuality not the president but just a puppet, turned up at the scene shortly after and was told only 300 people died. He then announced that only 300 people died, as if the death of 300 Rwandans is not enough to be a tragedy. But unfortunately, that was not the real number. At least 8,000, mostly women and children, were massacred on this day. Eyewitness accounts of the soldiers that were part of the United Nations mission say that the soldiers came and they opened fire on the crowd. Now the place was enclosed and these people could not run anywhere. And bodies started piling upon bodies piling, women and children being slaughtered by a barrage of bullets, only for the soldiers to take a short lunch break and continue shooting until the hours of the evening. This is a tragedy like many other tragedies that took place in Rwanda, but this is one that has completely been ignored by the international community. Whilst Kagame travels from capital to capital around the world, being given honorary doctorates and awards, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International have said that this is a man that leads a regime that is oppressive. A regime that did not only stop killing in 1995, but continues to kill even today, not only confined to Rwanda, but also to the neighboring countries of Burundi, Uganda, the Congo and Tanzania. The United Nations, whose peacekeepers stood by and watched as these innocent people were massacred, authored a report in 2010 called the Mapping Report, in which Kagame and his army are accused of a genocide of millions of people in the Congo, and yet nothing has been done. Our children and the future generations will ask hard questions as history looks upon this time and says, how could people be massacred and yet the culprits are walking free? Not only are they not facing justice, but they are actually applauded. The 22nd of April 1995, 24 years ago, is a tragic day in the history of Rwanda, one of many, and I ask, as you view these photographs, as you listen to this tragic past, that you will not be counted among those that looked away whilst evil took place in this world. That you will not be counted among those that stayed silent whilst criminals ran rampant in this world. Paul Kagame and his cohorts in the RPF are such criminals. Let us hope and pray that as we remember these victims and survivors of the Kibeho tragedy, that also justice for them will start to be done. As we seek justice for all that lost their lives in Rwanda in the genocide in 1994 and in the years subsequent to that, where the army of Paul Kagame massacred millions of people in Rwanda and in the Congo, justice must be served for the sake of all victims.